with the changes to Trials, which will be making loot more accessible to players that don't go flawless. I'm trying to think what other changes. This is probably the big kicker, and this is what I want to talk to you guys about. Is skill-based matchmaking coming back? It almost feels like it's already here, and it's being implemented into Iron Banner through the solo playlist. There's some talk about whether or not that's even true, but I almost wonder, do you think we're going to have a full-blown skill-based matchmaking experience with Trials, or do you think it's going to be almost like a hybrid? Because I think they talked about if you have the same amount of rounds and flawlesses for the week, we'll try to find those teams to pair them together, which sounds like almost exactly like what the community was asking for. But then it almost like it's a double-edged sword where, well, did we just turn on skill-based matchmaking again?
Yeah. I mean, I think they straight up said that there is skill-based matchmaking or some level of skill-based matchmaking that resets every week. But like also it will use card-based matchmaking. So the way I interpret it is that like probably it'll be SBMM early on and then switch to card-based matchmaking, so you still have that like flawless team, you know, two teams going against each other, winner gets flawless type of scenario. I would imagine that's the only thing that actually makes sense if you just consider like put your Bungie dev cap on. So yeah, that's my guess. Probably the first few games of a card would be SBMM and then switching it to a card-based system, right? So yeah, there will be SBMM, which I think is fine. If you have SBMM in the first few games, like whatever, like who really cares? But the concern becomes, how long do you have SBMM? Is it the whole card, right? Is it? I don't think it is, but maybe it is. Because then you just have like loopholes, right? If you're not as good of a player, you would just wait till like Monday. You know, all the good players go through, get their SBMM rating, they're all super high, then you don't match them, right? Easier, flawless.
Yeah, and it almost seems like Bungie's trying to return to this kind of like original form of where Trials was usually in Destiny 1, two really good talented players, we call them Sherpas, right? And then you'd have the carry or someone who maybe hasn't gone flawless before. And it almost seems to me like without like implementing that you form that type of fire team, it almost looks to me like the way the skill-based matchmaking is going to be deployed, it will benefit and favor teams that don't stack, right?
Yeah.
So what do you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think returning to carries makes sense. I mean, it's technically against TOS to constantly have recovs, and I really don't care what anyone says. Constantly having people in there doing 3 stacks recovs ruins the playlist. Because yes, those people say, oh, they'd be playing on their accounts anyways. No, they wouldn't. If there was no money incentive, they would not be sitting in Trials all day. Literally talk to any person that does Sherpas. They do it for the money. Period.
Right. The person who would actually be playing is that player who's maybe like a 1.0 or a 1. Just like your average run-of-the-mill Guardian, right? Which is when the Trials population, I think, really flourishes, is when you have your 0.5s and you have your 2.5s, right?
Yep. So, you know, I think making it more fair for, you know, your lower tier players, making it so it's actually rewarding their time is something that I've been talking about for a long time, that like Trials just is not rewarding unless you're actually good at PvP, right? Yeah. So you need to reward people for at least trying, and then that helps them develop into a good player.
I agree.
I think that's what they're doing.
Entirely agree, right? Even like PvE, PvP, this is a loot game, right? It's always been kind of based around the loot. That's been a lot of the appeal to play the game.